Hello, man, babies, and we're back for another edition of Let's Roast Obi-Wan Kenobi because it's the only thing worth doing with Disney Star Wars. So, can't wait to get stuck into this today, Wednesday, June the 8th, 2022. And I am, of course, the greatest Hollywood director of recent times, and in fact, of all time. And I'm taking time off from writing my trilogy to be with you all today. So, I trust you're all very well. I can see you're in the chats. We've all diligently watched the 4th episode of Obi-Wan. We've got our notes at the ready. We've got our soy milk warmed up and ready to go. So there's nothing else to do other than to bring out my fantastic guests. And we might have one or two surprises today. Let's see who is revealed. So I want to cue them up, but I haven't got a clue who's gonna pop up on screen. So bring out the first Inquisitor, and then I'll give him his full drum roll. It's Z3PO. How are you doing, Z?
I'm very well, thank you, Mr. Ryan, sir, and what a pleasure it is to be joining you once again.
Oh, you're sounding particularly robotic today, sir. I do appreciate the god-awful mic you're using, but we'll make it through, Z. We always do.
We most certainly will, sir. So let's
Very
bring on
good.
the next guest.
Let's bring them on. Who's the next freak we've got waiting in the green room?
It's me.
It's Mr. Brown, the Palpatine of the team. How are you doing, Brownie? We know you're on death's door.
I'm okay. You all right, buddy?
You're doing that well, eh? Yes, I'm very well. Thank you for giving me the keys tonight, Brownie. I'll happily drive the show, and you can, for once, sit back, enjoy, and just insert your contributions at your pleasure, sir.
I always do, my friend. Shall we bring out the next guest?
Let's bring out the next goddamn guest. It's Dark Sith Lord Lostchord. How are you doing, sir?
I'm all right. Thank you very much. How are you?
Oh, very well. So glad to have you on. It wouldn't be an Obi-Wan roast without Lostchord, and I can't wait to hear what you've got. It somehow feels as though this goddamn series is surpassing itself in how bad it's getting. So
oh my
I
God,
can't wait
yeah.
to get stuck in. I take it you've watched it, you've got your notes at the ready, and you're ramped up and ready to rage at this episode. Is that
I
am I
literally
right?
put the finishing touches on the script for my video about 5 minutes before hopping on, so I'll try not to refer to that too much. I'll just note from the outset, though, that you said it seems the only thing we can do, the only thing we want to do with this show is to roast it. As per episode 3, that is also Darth Vader's only motivation as well. So everyone wants to roast Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's just we're doing it figuratively.
Beautiful, sir. And I do believe we have one more victim in the green room who's going to endure this with us. It's Tim Kenobi. How are you doing, sir?
Good. Hello there. I'm Obi-Wan's brother.
Anything's possible with Tim. Well, it's good to have you here, Tim. As you know, we're going to get stuck into this goddamn awful show, and I'm going to steer us through it. I believe we've got about 743 slides. So, quick one tonight, folks. I hope you've got your breakfast at the ready. So, why don't we just get into this goddamn show? And let's start ripping the shit out of more Disney Star Wars. So we no better place to start than with an eye test. So if you can't read it, it says something like, "I'm Mr. Brown. I've got COVID. Please send Lemsip," or something like that. But if you would be kind enough to like, share, comment, do all those things that you youngsters like to do, and boost the ratings. I have to say, Brownie, I believe you've hit 400 subs.
I did, and then it's come back down to 399. So
that was me. I unsubscribed. Sorry.
YouTube doing its usual trickery, but we're nearly there. We're nearly there, folks.
Let's get him over 400 for damn sake. Spread the word, people. He deserves it. Okay, so we're talking Obi-Wan Kenobi. The poster yet again with his C-3PO like eye. Let's just get in there, Brownie. Let's start seeing what we had on this show, because it starts off with a rather blurry face of Obi, and if I recall, we find ourselves Franco. is still a very young 53. I just wanted to give him a shout out. He's you're still a man baby in my eyes, Franco. Yes, I believe we're starting out with Obi in the bacta tank. They do love a bacta tank, Disney, don't they? Let's go to. I've got to hear from Lost Short. I know he's got something for us on this. What do you make of this opening scene, sir?
So I guess 2 points. There's the meta point, which is that he shouldn't be here at all, because in the previous episode, if Vader had remembered that he could put the fire out with the Force or drag Kenobi through the fire with the Force, both of which he'd done 2 minutes prior, he could have captured him, and then this entire thing would be unnecessary, and we'd all have been thankful for that. But it has a 6-episode run to fill, so stupidity has to come in. So here we are. The specific point of this scene is obviously, and I think they do this with invoking lines of dialogue from Vader in the last episode, is to draw the direct parallel between Kenobi and Anakin both being sort of matriculating in their marinating, in their bacta tanks. And it inserts these lines from Hayden Christensen's Vader or James L. Jones's Vader in the last episode. And it sort of just brings back to mind how empty those lines and that interaction was, because the lines they choose were, "I am what you made me," and "you should have killed me when you have the chance." And it's like, Vader has been searching for this guy for a decade, and he finally finds him, and all he can think to say is just stock villain dialogue. But the idea is to draw this parallel, and it's so obvious you can see it coming from miles away.
Yes, it was. Do we all agree that the bacta thing is being grossly overused by Disney? I mean, I felt like I watched half the Mandalorian with this old bald dude in a bacta tank, and now we've got Obi-Wan in there. It just seems, yes, grossly overused. But we did have the fantastic actress. I can't remember her goddamn name, but she is fantastic. What's the name? Someone will know.
Tala. Well,
Tala's the character. Name. Yes, we know yes. But I've got to say, anything with her in. It's just maybe because the rest of the show is so goddamn awful, but anything with Tala in, I find a cut above anything else in this show. Tim, I'm coming to you. What do you make of Tala?
She's very nice. Game of Thrones. Yeah, no, I like her.
It's not Mario or Avoid. Don't beat around the bush.
Yeah, she's very nice. All her scenes are great. She's like more standout than Riva, obviously. And I also want to add, I felt like it was a missed opportunity not to have Boba Fett in this. You know, like he should have been in a parlor with the bacta tank. Like he should have his own business now. And then Obi-Wan should have showed up. It'd have been a great cameo for me.
It would, but don't give them ideas, because you know that episode 5, Mando will show up and just save the day because it's flagging and they need him.
Oh, yeah. God, it's going to turn into the Mando show again. Okay, well, she's saved Obi-Wan because, of course, Obi-Wan has to be saved by a woman. He was made to kneel in front of a female stormtrooper kissing the sand. Then he was saved by her, and then he's been saved yet again from the clutches of Vader. Who was that? Was that the Loader? That's the Loader character there, wasn't it? Am I right?
Yeah, that was Master Chief from Halo.
That's the one, Brownie. Thank you. We need that. And I knew why we needed you here tonight. Thank you for that, sir. But yes, poor Obi-Wan's in pretty bad shape, although not bad considering he's almost burnt alive. Somehow came off it fairly easily. I'm going to Z. Z, what do you think of this? I know we spoke about him last time, but as a fellow droid, what do you make of this Master Chief-like character? We don't see him much in this episode, so I want to get your insights while we have him.
By far, sir, my favouriteest character in a suit.
Yeah, there we go. And is he just being carried on a standard stretcher, or is he on some kind of hovering device thing here?
Well, it does look like he's being carried, sir.
Yeah, it's all very dark and dingy. I don't know what's going on.
Scroll quite weird, because quite literally nobody is carrying this series at all.
Yes, it's like one big wake. We're just mourning the fucking death of Star Wars. Here we go. So we knew he gets to the tank at some point. Go on, Brownie. You're itching to go. What do you make of this whole fucking bacta nonsense?
I was very jealous because I've needed one of those this week. I would have given back teeth for the bacta tank this week. But it's like with most Star Wars, everything goes back to the bacta tank.
Back to the bacta tank. It's a, that's a good idea
You're
for a
welcome.
new Disney Plus series. Yes.
I was actually quite relieved with this though, because as soon as I saw him in the bacta tank, I was expecting a half-hour episode of him fucking around with Tusken Raiders, and at least we didn't get that.
Yes,
Always
true.
a
And
positive.
it gives them the opportunity, doesn't it, to do the old flashback and the fucking obvious comparisons with Vader and his bacta tank. So yes, we have a number of flashback type scenes going from Vader and then to Obi-Wan. I mean, he comes. Bearing in mind, he was literally on a sea of fire. He's come away from it pretty okay, really. I mean,
Yeah, he's not like burnt like a torch like Vader was. He got the
No.
light treatment. Yeah, I wonder whose back tank's better. It's like, it reminds me of that song, my milkshake's better than yours. Darn right. My back tank's better than yours.
BIGT Moores here. Here's everyone bringing the standard up to scratch. Thank you. Good to see you, sir. Okay, move us on. Let's see what we get. Is this? It's so difficult to see what the fuck's going
So
on.
that
in this
one's
thing. So
Vader.
this is
Vader.
Vader now. Yeah, we're just flitting between the two. There's Vader saying hello.
It's like someone's burning his effigy on a bonfire.
And there's the look how it mirrors each other. He's got his hand up, everyone. Aren't they so artistically in touch with everything? Oh God save me. And it's a better wide shot, but yes, and this is where Obi is. He tries to get out the bacta too early. You need to stay in there, Obi, and fully recover. But he does seem fine anyway. But yes, for me, any scene with Tala is a more interesting scene. You know, you've got two quality actors, and I think later on, where the show is exposed at its worst is when you have the interaction between Riva and young Leia. I think young Leia's done okay for a child actress, but as soon as you stick her in a one-on-one with a very below par adult actress, it really exposed the show. Oh, and then this really now is where the entirety of this episode is based. What's the name of this? Oh, thanks, Andy. Thanks, bringing the tone down.
I believe, sir, it's the Evil Inquisitor Giant Triangle.
That's the one. I knew it was something.
It's called the Toblerone.
The Toblerone. There we go.
The
Coming
upturned
to a
ice cream
Lego
cone.
shop near you. Okay, so we're going to see more of this Toblerone place, and this is where we're, I think, about to see, yes, young Leia is being held hostage. I have to say, and I'm always trying to find the positives, some positivity. Some of the visual scenes in this Toblerone type Empire base visually are quite good, especially you see the wider shots, and I don't know. Anyone want to tell me I'm talking shit at this point, or?
No, I definitely dig the vibe. Like, I got like a Rogue One feel, and kind of Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes.
But yeah, when we get to this whole debacle, yeah, Reva's acting kind of falls a little dry. But,
I think it's a little bit suspicious, sir, that she's got binders for children.
Yes, it's rather worrying, and it gets even more worrying when they start going down the torture route a little bit later on.
I wholeheartedly agree, sir. It's a very Ezra Miller vibe going on there.
Hello to Craig. Thank you, Craig, for the compliments. I know you've always got my back. Can we ban him, please, Brown? Yeah, so for me, and I want to go around the group here, because I think there's one of those scenes where we need to pause and reflect and discuss, because for me, young Leia's okay. She's only a little child actress, I know. I'm not going to be too harsh, but it's fine when she's with a powerhouse actor like Ewan McGregor, but as soon as we get this scene with Riva, it did feel awfully daytime TV or school play level of acting. So I'm going around the room on this one. I want all your thoughts. So we're going to go with you, Brownie. Give us your thoughts on this whole Riva Leia hostage, Riva trying to extract information.
Pass. She's not a very good actress, is she? Yeah, you're quite right. When the young girl's acting against Ewan, or the endearer woman, very good.
Yes.
But I don't know, she just seems to have attitude, this actress. And it just comes over and it just takes you straight out. And that's just me. But I'm a racist, remember?
Yes, check yourself, Brown.
Oh, sorry, we all are, yes.
Yes. Lost Jord, thoughts on this this interaction?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's very hard to tell whether an actor's performance is principally down to direction or whether it is down to their innate ability. I mean, the prequel trilogy had some very good actors in it, but the direction was essentially to be as stilted as possible. I didn't really mind, well, rather, I don't think the acting was really the problem here. There's a couple of problems. In the first place, I mean, baby Leia is so very young that whenever she gets the better of somebody intellectually, it automatically makes them look ridiculous. And that's fine if they're side characters, as we saw in episode 1. But when you're trying to big up a villain like Riva, having her outwitted by a toddler is not a good look. And it does sort of detract from the menace and the esteem in which we're supposed to be holding Space Moses or Vera, whatever her name is. The other one is, though, that it sort of feeds into these continuity issues that keep coming up whenever Leia in particular is involved. Because, so the setup for this is Space Moses, Darth Reaver, whatever, is saying that she has no privileges here. She might be a princess of Alderaan, but the Empire doesn't look kindly on traitors. By implication, then, they know that Leia, and by implication her father, which is the reason Leia is here, is a traitor and is engaging in traitorous acts with a traitorous person in the form of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Come A New Hope, Leia is a senator. Her father is notably unarrested. And we know the Empire has the ability to arrest people for treachery, which is the opening scene of A New Hope. So why, if they already know that Leia, but most importantly her father, are in bed with traitors in the form of Obi-Wan, are they in their positions at all when it comes to A New Hope? Why has the Empire not seen them off, given they already know they are harboring Jedi? That seems a fairly major problem from an Empire point of view, but one that this show doesn't pay any attention to.
Don't worry, sir. They will get to it eventually and destroy Alderaan in the process.
Well, I guess, yeah, that's one way of doing it. But I mean, we know this show doesn't care about continuity in that way, though, because, I mean, of the 2 videos we've done, we've had a load of people telling us, well, the reason Leia doesn't appeal to Obi-Wan based on any of these adventures is because she doesn't know that Obi-Wan is Obi-Wan because he's only ever called Ben in her presence. But in this scene, Riva says, Obi-Wan is dead and he isn't coming to help you, meaning that you don't have recourse to that defense anymore because Leia does know that that Obi-Wan is the Obi-Wan she's appealing to for help. So if it doesn't give a damn about that kind of continuity, then it's not going to give a damn about why the Organas are unarrested come A New Hope anyway. The only way they can fix it is by some bullshit Jedi Force mind wipe ability on any of these principal characters. I wouldn't put it beyond them to go there, but it would be an incredibly cheap and shallow move to do that.
We've got Brian in the chat, our old friend, not Brian. He's obviously too high and mighty for us all these days because he was retweeted by Ryan Johnson recently. So
you're joking.
He got a retweet. Ryan Johnson, out of fucking nowhere, decided he's going to retweet a thread by Brian Young, which was a something like an 18-chain tweet thread. Basically making excuses for fucking The Last Jedi. So obviously quiet day for Ryan Johnson. But yes, Brian says when a character's trying to persuade Leia, performance is okay, but when she tries to be intimidating, she fails miserably. I don't know if you got the slide for it, Brown, but as this scene rolls on, she has one moment, or it could be a little later, I don't know, where I don't know if the direction is, look angry, and she does this thing with her hand. It was really cringed into my fucking grave on the spot. It was awful. Anyway, we got plenty in the chat today. Look at this. Is that my eyes deceiving me, Brown? We got 24 goddamn people in the chat. They all want to come and shit on Obi. You're all welcome, man, babies. Make sure you like and sub and all the rest of it. Good to have you all here. So we'll roll through these slides because I've frankly had enough of looking at Riva. So let's chop and change it up a bit. And now, oh yes, we move on to a slightly more interesting scene. I guess this is, although there is a little bit of
Ice Cube
forced...
Jr.
It does actually. He does a little bit. Well, Tim, I'm coming to you. So take us through this scene, Tim. What the hell's going on here?
So, at first I thought I was gonna be like, you know, kind of a compelling scene, but then he kind of like flips a switch like within 5 seconds. It's like, all right, I'll help you, and that's pretty much it. He's like, you know, I used to have a family. I know what the Empire can do, and then he switches his mind really quick. So, yep.
Time Profits on form as always. I'm not reading it out, Time Profits, but
does Ice-T come up with a backstory about how the Empire did stuff to his family, so he understands? And
he does.
His mind.
There's a reference about his wife, isn't there? Something he's lost his wife, and he has about 90 seconds of screen time, but he manages to wedge in that backstory. Very good.
But it's really dumb. This is like the third time they've tried it. Obi-Wan says you have no idea what the Empire is capable of, and the Jedi in the first episode says you have no idea what I've been through. It's been a fucking decade. Yes, you do. Everybody knows what the Empire is capable of. That's why you're here.
Yeah, he says the Inquisitors, you know, chased after him and his wife and killed him. I think one of them was probably Force sensitive, maybe. I don't know.
Shout out to my old friend Demon Scythe Synthwave. Good to see you, Demon. And he poses a rather worrying conundrum there if there's a fight between Mary Sue and Darth Wakanda. But yes, we were not even going to go there because.
No, that's really easy because Mary Sue would punch Darth Wakanda and then they'd be best friends because they're both Mary Sues in the end.
Oh, there we go. They'd rule the galaxy together forever in a fabulous lesbian relationship.
Together we can rule the galaxy as wife and wife.
Here you go, boys. The great Andy Masterson. He actually is Ice Cube.
No, no. Seriously. Are you being serious? Or are you shitting me? This could be the greatest thing about this entire Obi-Wan series.
Cheers, Andy.
Tim, did you know that, or did you totally take a punt?
I just took a punt, like, because he looked just like him. I was like, dude, that.
I thought it was a great gag on your part. It turns out to be absolutely true. Brilliant. There we go.
That is the kind of plot twist this show could only dream of accomplishing.
And the thing is, they didn't put it in the marketing. You think they would have put in the marketing? He was in this, right? You know. So.
Crazy times. Demon there working his arse off to get your subs up, Brown.
Cheers, Demon.
Yes, we're going to get him over 400 tonight. I can feel it in my bones, man, babies. Okay, so we move on and we get a... Well, look, by the standards of Obi-Wan, it's not a bad scene because we get the kind of command table and the start of they're sort of making a plan on how the hell they're going to rescue Leia. And I think Obi-Wan's convincing them to maybe try and help him, but they're still a little bit reticent to do so. But this scene's missing a goddamn droid. So let's go over to our own droid, Z-3PO. So what do you make of their plan, Z?
Oh, sir, after watching the 4 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, I am absolutely convinced that The Last Jedi is a masterpiece in comparison.
Well, there we go. I knew it'd convince you all in the end.
So much so that at the end of the episode, I decided to go and see what the writers of it had done. Apparently, Hannah Friedman has done nothing, apart from write a mediocre book about herself. Joby Harold, however, wrote Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, which is quite possibly a 5-star movie out of 10.
Yes,
it is
Very
absolutely
good.
diabolical, but it is all down to the writing. It doesn't matter who would be playing these roles; they would still have to speak the same dogshit lines, and
yes.
everything just seems so convenient and contrived. And if I see another bacta tank, I'll rip off my arms and legs myself.
Oh, good God. Yes, yes, it feels we're only ever 7 minutes away from a back to tank scene with Disney Plus at the moment. So
But
we got
I believe this is also the point where they say that there's no shields on this place because they don't expect anybody to attack. But the place is overrun with stormtroopers with blasters and probe droids, and you would think that shields would be compulsory in this sort of case.
Yes, it's rather strange.
Fair
They don't
point.
expect to be attacked yet. They have stormtroopers patrolling every goddamn corridor of the place. I mean, which one is it? Pick a fucking side, Disney. Jesus Christ. Anyway, we've got some interaction here. Obi and the MILF
Fitty.
character. Keep forgetting a name. Brownie, what would you score out of 10, and would you give a 1? That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, I'd give a 1. I'd give a 1. Yeah.
You give a 1. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Wanted to check on that one.
I know. What's his face would in the chat. He'd probably give us several.
We're gonna lose your newly acquired audience if we descend into smuttery, Brown.
Sorry,
So
I've got the COVID brain. Sorry, boys.
Yes, look, you've set Craig off now in the chat. Scroll us on, Brown, for goddamn sake. We've got to find something interesting in this.
Please
episode.
feel free to scroll on as well. If you,
you're happy with me to
you're
right.
in total control, mate.
I thought I was employed just to talk shit. Okay, great. I'll do it then, and we'll move on. And we've okay. I've got to stop at this scene because this was, I thought, was of all the money and the expertise and the special effects, they clearly went for this magnet under the table effect, didn't they? With Obi-Wan trying to move whatever the hell this goddamn device is. I don't know.
I'm quite confused at this scene, sir, because he's having trouble moving the device, but 2 episodes ago he had no problem lifting a small child.
Z, now what have I told you about bringing your brain in when you're watching this? You need to remember to leave it at the door, Z.
Also, I'm assuming he knows he's cut himself off from the Force. So what's been the point of all the scenes at the beginning of every episode where he tries to commune with Qui-Gon using the Force? That's like hanging up the phone and then trying to make a phone call. You would know that wasn't going to work because you'd cut yourself off from the Force. So why are you trying to do it?
That's a good question.
Again.
And also, at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Yoda says, "I have training for you." Did he just go, lol, no?
Lol.
No, we don't do training in Disney Star Wars. You should know that by now. Can we just say how good she looks in the Imperial officer's outfit? She does look very tidy, doesn't she?
A highlight of this program.
Yes, it is.
And I think some of the chaps in the chat would agree. A definite highlight of this series. Quality acting.
Yes, quality acting, and not bad for a bit of a MILF, is she? But anyway, we digress. And we're back to, I think this is the scene. We're back. Well, unfortunately, we're back to Riva and young Leia. So I'm coming to you, Tim. What the hell's going on here, Tim? I'm going to cycle through this shot, but just talk us through it. What's Riva trying to achieve in this scene?
I don't know, man. Like they should have had.
You don't know. You don't care. Next.
Yeah.
Next episode.
They should have the 5th brother in there. One of them should have played good cop. One should have played bad cop, but they didn't do that. But he's off doing whatever. Probably brushing his hair if he had hair. But no, she. You feel the acting emotion from young Leia, but Reva, there's no like relatability or like vulnerability, and that's what needed to show for her to kind of relate with Leia, for her to kind of fold a little bit. And that was not displayed. She was just very one note, and so it kind of took me out of the scene. And I forgot who was speaking earlier. They brought up some really good points about continuity stuff as well. But yeah, that's it.
Well, if it's anyone talking any kind of sense, it's got to be Lost Chord, because the rest of us just bullshit our way through this. But I'm coming to you, Darth Sith Lord Lost Chord.
So the premise for this interrogation scene is that Riva has discovered not only the Jedi rat race rabbit hole thing, the network that gets them smuggled out on one planet, but she's just discovered 2 more of them. And she, oh God. And she thinks that Leia has the information she needs to explode the entire Jedi smuggling operation, which makes absolutely zero sense. Because
TIE fighters.
The only reason Leia is in this scene is because Space Moses had her kidnapped about 5 minutes ago. So she knows that she's not here because she knows about the Jedi smuggling ring. She's only there because it's Space Moses' entire plan. So this scene doesn't make any sense if Riva remembers what it was that she was doing in the first place. But she doesn't, because obviously then this scene wouldn't work. And then the other thing is that she tries to use her Force interrogation mind reading technique. And baby Leia resists her. This untrained little girl is apparently strong enough in the Force to resist the Jedi mind reading ability, which will pose some significant potential problems later on, because it means you cannot have Leia within any kind of proximity to Vader, because if that happens, Vader will sense her, which he can't do until Return of the Jedi. So again, not going to actually rely on them bearing these things in mind, but it's the kind of stuff that has to be borne in mind. But the entire setup for the scene makes absolutely no sense at all.
And just while we're here, Time Prophet's trying to correct me on my pronunciation. If I want to call him Dark Sith Lord Lost Chord, I goddamn will, Time Prophet. So pipe down there. But,
yeah, this is an in joke to this stream.
It's an in joke. So I think the very
like months ago, and it's just stuck.
I fucked up the introduction, and I've just stuck with it ever since.
The
I'm
weird thing here, sir, is if she detects resistance from Leia and they actively hunt down and kill children with Force abilities, why don't they just off her?
I remember TIE fighters.
There's the TIE fighters.
I'm glad you do, because the show completely forgets about them later, but I guess we'll come to that.
Now, let's be certain here that this place has absolutely no shields and is on a water planet, and it has a shiny surface floor with no water on it. No splashes, no rain, nothing. It's quite the miracle.
I have a question. Why is there like a place where they can literally swim under and come through? Like, did we see any stormtroopers kind of swimming around, doing security? What was the point of having that? Is that like a plot device for Obi-Wan to sneak in, or?
Yeah.
No, that exists because they saw it in Jedi Fallen Order and they thought that looked good, so we're going to nab that. That's literally all they've done. They've just taken the only vaguely well-received Star Wars thing and just stolen entire plot devices from that game.
Oh, I got it. It's a job perk. It's like, join the Empire and you can take a dip whenever you want, like on your break.
Was the plan to infiltrate the base because this woman's got clearance?
So yeah, she says.
So they're hoping that it's not been revoked.
There is actually a line earlier on in the scene with Obi-Wan in the bacta, or just after the bacta tank, where she says she's still got her Imperial clearance, and she is asked, "Will that not have been revoked, or is your cover still intact?" And she says, "We'll find out," because she's the only officer on the scene when Obi-Wan is first detected. And no one thought to check up on whether she was amongst the dead troopers. No one thought to check up on where she was after that. So she gets all the way in. She walks to the center of the base before someone even thinks to ask her for her ID, which is just incredibly, incredibly good levels of security from the Empire again.
So I'm in a vain attempt to try and pull some kind of positives out there. I do think some of these scenes are the strongest on the show. Again, it could be just because I'm getting the old member berries and I'm seeing all the stormtroopers and officers and so on. But there's a nice little scene here, and again, it's got our favorite actress who's got some actual acting abilities, but she's trying to get through, and she's challenged, isn't she, by this this character here? Although The the funniest moment is that when she actually turns the tables, she, she demands to be called sir. Now, as someone who's often called
I'd
everyone
call her.
sir, what did
Well,
you
I'd
make of
call her
this?
sir. I'd call her sir.
You call her anything she damn well asked, Brown. Z, what did you make of this deliberate misgendering?
Oh, it's quite often used in military scenarios, sir. What I was quite concerned about is why she just didn't walk around the checkpoint like everybody else.
Yes, it's not the first time we've seen a kind of barrier which could be easily walked around, but yes, there we go. Look at those cheekbones.
Very good.
I'm talking about the stormtrooper in the background, by the way. But yes, we have this little head-to-head, and Franco, go take a cold shower, man. Yes, it was a nice little scene. Again, I know what they're trying to do here. They're trying to think, oh, is she going to get through? A little bit of tension, but I like the setting. I like the interaction. It's about as good as this show gets, I would say. But she manages to get through at this point. He's a rather tall Imperial officer, isn't he?
Question: do you think the actor who's playing the guy there? Do you think they deliberately got somebody who had a very, very pitted face from bad acne?
Oh, Brownie, that's rather harsh. It was his big moment.
Moving on.
No, I think there's something in it though. They've gone for somebody, get me the whitest white man you can to play this Imperial arsehole. Yes, I do think there's something in that. But nevertheless, she makes it through, and she's in. Her cover's intact, and then she's on the old intercom. Now, is this the same intercom device that we see used in A New Hope? Does anyone know?
Yes.
Yes.
It absolutely is, sir, because they love member berries in here. It's the only way you can get people involved.
Well, more member berries in this than there are dingleberries on Brown's arse. But anyway, bringing the tone down because that's the kind of mood I'm in after watching this show. So,
fucking old man from Atlantis.
Grab your bollocks, everyone! There's another member berry coming because it's Obi-Wan swimming, and is he using the same kind of oxygen device he used in the prequels?
I do not believe it's the same, sir. It's a different one.
Oh. I thought he kept it all this time.
Yes, a much bigger, more bulkier one.
Oh, okay. There we go. Right. Yes, I see a little thing in his mouth. He spends a lot of time and liquid in this episode, doesn't he? Well done, Andy.
Well done, mate.
Yes, well done, sir. We appreciate it. Okay, so as always, there's always a port or some secret way where they can get into the base, and then I don't know. It was obviously there's now a lot of Obi-Wan creeping around corridors. Are we seeing the foreshadowing what he does on the Death Star? Can we give them any credit here, or is it all absolute bullshit? Anyone?
I really don't see why we should be giving them credit for just stealing scenes wholesale. So the entire reason this is here is because Fallen Order has you swimming into Fortress Inquisitorius, sneaking around Fortress Inquisitorius. There's even a scene later where you have to use the Force to hold the water back, again stolen from Fallen Order. If they're just nicking stuff from sneaking around the Death Star as well, that's again, it's just evidence of how little writing the writers on this show are actually doing for themselves, because almost nothing in this episode, apart from the really bad stuff, is unique to this show. Most of it's just been stolen, including this. We also have to note that I think there are CCTV cameras precisely 2 places in the galaxy, the Death Star and the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, but nowhere else. So there's no cameras here. There's just one probe droid floating around doing all the work.
I want to bring up something real quick here. I didn't actually realize this till day. I was watching someone talk about it. Why didn't he take the armor? He's just walking around just like Obi-Wan in his robes, to not stand out, right?
That's a great point. I did actually think for one moment, you're so right, Tim. I did actually think after taking out the stormtrooper, he would go for the old stormtrooper disguise. But no, they kind of, a bit like the old hello there line. They think, are we going to give you something you'd like? No, we're fucking not. So, Yes, that's Disney for you. So he's on the intercom. He's communicating with She-Ra or whatever her name is, and then we're back to for the third time to the interrogation scene with Riva. Now, I think this is the scene. I'm referring to my notes here. This is the scene where I think as they exchange words, Riva actually, we find out, is actually a victim. Surprise, surprise.
Oh,
And
really?
she had a droid taken from her when she was young, as well as everything else, I think is the line. Does this give it? Is there any hope for this character? Does it give it any more depth, Brownie? I know you've got a kind of love-hate relationship with Riva. You think she's a bad actress on the one hand, the other hand you want to bang her. I don't know. Where do you stand on this, Brown?
I was about to blow my nose, but I don't care.
It's your stream, Brown. You better goddamn care.
I
know what you mean.
I am a Star Trek fan, and this is what I've been feeling for years. And yeah, you guys, you're welcome. It's just awful what they're doing to this. This could be so good, and it's just shite. Moving on.
Craig says this interrogation scene was even worse than Kylo and Rey's in The Force Awakens.
It all feels just like first draft of the script, and they've just gone, fuck it, we'll just go with that.
Oh, well, so it's not the first draft, because they did have a first draft before Kathleen Kennedy stuck her massive...
I stand corrected. Second draft. Moving on.
Melvin deeply identifying a possible plot hole in terms of why then they just get old Jimmy Smits to come and pick them up, but no, they fucked that one up, obviously, because they had 2 more episodes to squeeze out of this mess. But anyway, the interrogation goes on. I think Leia, there's obviously this is going to be used as a plot device later on, but we'll get to that. And Leia's resisting.
If I may,
no, Brown, I'm not allowing you. Sorry,
okay.
No, go on.
No, when Leia was captured, didn't they take the dead mouse droid off her?
No, they gave it back, and then you would have thought, but no, because then the show wouldn't work. You can't have them do sensible things if it stops the plot from happening.
Because this is the point where she puts the tracking device into dead mouse. It's subtle, but you can see her doing it with the...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's subtle. You'll see it.
Oh, I thought it was when she was on the torture device. That's when she would have taken the opportunity.
No, it's now.
Oh, okay.
Can we just briefly go back and marvel at, like, so everyone has been criticizing, I say everyone, all the racists have been criticizing Riva's character for not being a character and having no depth to it. And then you had people say, no, there's loads of depth to the character. You're just not seeing it because you're racists. This is the show's attempt to give her character. I had my droid pet stolen when I was a kid. That explains why I now go around genociding. Like, great character development. I'm really loving this.
But also, by placing the tracking device on her, they must have been expecting her to be rescued. So shouldn't they have been on high alert?
Yeah. He's on form tonight. He's clearly had his oil bath before he came in, hasn't he?
Yes.
Yes, interesting how Riva has not had as much character development in 4 fucking episodes than Ice Cube's son did in 30 seconds of screen time. But
he stole the show.
Yeah, there we go. Let's see more of him. Okay, so we're back to the gorgeous Adira. I don't know. Are we talking nonsense? Are we so starved of good-looking women in this show that we're overrating her? Please, in the chat, can we give a rating for Adina, whatever her name is, out of 10, if you would? Let's get a Rotten Tomatoes hot or not score for Adina. Brown, you asked me to do this. I'm going to do it my way. I'm sorry. Then we have a probe droid.
I remember probe droids.
Probe droid. Now, Lost Jord. Probe droids patrolling corridors. It's kind of a first, isn't it? What's going on there?
Oh, it's because CCTV hasn't yet been invented. So, I guess not. I was wondering, is that the droid that's on the main character's back in Battlefront 2, the remake version? Because it looks similar. It's not the standard issue probe droid. I think that's the version they've gone with here. But it's just, again, it's in there as an excuse for some kind of tension to happen. It's not there because it makes any kind of sense. And it actually, because it makes so little sense, it ends up just distracting from things. This show doesn't have much time left. We're in episode 4. There's 2 episodes left. This one's only half an hour long. Do you really need to have long, drawn-out, fake tension corridor sequences where he's hiding from a random probe droid? Or do you not have more important things to be doing with your time?
Well, in a 32-minute episodes, clearly not. No, they...
I'm quite concerned, sir, that this probe droid can only see things when it's right in front of them.
Yes, we've seen them scanning landscapes on Hoth, but on corridor, no, they can only see directly in front. You're so right, Z.
That's a stream killer.
Z, I don't want to leave you out when we're talking sex. So, what do you make of the probe droids that are doing everything for your circuitry?
10 out of 10, sir. Would bang.
there we go, man, babies. You heard it first. Z3PO will bang a probe droid. You don't get that on any other streams. Okay, so we've got.
Is there any, before we go on, is there any white probe droids?
Oh, brown. Why do you have to bring it back to race?
I can't help it because I'm a racist.
No, it's all shiny and black, and it's all dark.
I want representation, diversity.
So uncivilized.
Representation.
But why does everything in the Empire, sir, have to be shiny and black?
I don't know.
Oh God, I don't know. I'm sure someone in the chat will be able to answer that question. I'm not even going to go there. Okay, so she still pretends to be an officer, and I believe she gets more of a challenged slightly more severely this time. I thought the guys in the black suits ranked higher than the guys in the grey suits, but I've obviously clearly got this wrong. But
I just like that she's stationed on some dusty backwater planet thousands of light years away. And this is the second time, but the first time, seriously, anyone has come up and said, "You're not supposed to be here. Why are you at this random computer terminal thousands of light years away from where you're supposed to be stationed?"
Yeah, it's a flaw in this show where things happen and it's just too unlikely that they wouldn't be noticed. So she sat there literally with an arm shot of another Imperial officer, and she's whispering into the intercom to Obi-Wan. There's no way she'll be recognized. We're about to see the best scene of all coming up, I think, unless we've already missed it, where Obi-Wan's creeping around the corridors and stormtroopers come walking along. And I actually went back and paused it. Obi-Wan is in full shot, climbing out of the corridor as the stormtroopers are walking along the corridor. It's just far too unlikely, but Demon's still feeling the love there. So,
well, the Empire, sir, is an equal opportunities employer, and subsequently they do employ the partially sighted for stormtroopers.
Oh, there we go. I knew you'd have an explanation for it, Z. I mean, Brian Young and explaining away The Last Jedi, but you're not bad, I'll give you that. So, partially sighted probe droid here, struggling to pick up anything. It's almost like a scene out of Alien or something, Brownie. What do you make of this?
I was riveted while I was blowing my nose.
I mean, someone said in the chat they just didn't feel the tension in these scenes. Tim, did you feel any tension with Obi in the corridor, with Leia and Interrogation? Was there any kind of tension here?
Oh man, I don't know, man. No, I didn't feel anything. It was very bland, just like my sandwich earlier.
What was the sandwich, Tim? Well, now we're all intrigued.
No, it was actually better than this one. It was a egg sandwich, so it was actually good. This was not, but yeah.
As an American, I want you to say something like, "I had a Jello and diaper sandwich."
I had a Jello and a diaper sandwich.
Brown, I want you to clip that, and we'll We'll
Clipped
reuse
already.
Tim's soundbite. Perfect.
50
yes.
minutes.
Jello and diaper, Tim. It's all the rage over here in England.
But I want to comment though. It goes back to the pacing of this episode. How long was it? Like 34 minutes long. It was just like way too quick. There wasn't like any moment where it could breathe and where you could feel the tension. Even the Reva scenes, like, I felt nothing. So
It's because there was nothing to pad it out.
Yes, the whole episode it felt was built on, attempted to be built on tension until maybe the final scene where we got a little bit of action for what that was worth. But Lost Chord, I know he's building himself up. Come on, Lost Chord, give us both barrels. What did you make of these so-called tension scenes?
Honestly, I have nothing. Just like no. They just don't. They don't work. I think this is pinched from A New Hope, isn't it? Because there's a scene on the Death Star when C-3PO has left his communicator on the desk, and then Luke tries to contact him.
That is, yes.
They're just, again, if they're not stealing from a video game, they're stealing bits from A New Hope. Virtually none of this episode is new. All of this, apart from the bad bits, again, which we'll come on to later. But the tension sequences, they don't need to exist. That's the main problem. That's why there's no tension in them. They take up time the show doesn't have. It's simultaneously way too quick and nothing happens. It's not even as though they have enough content really to fill the time. It's just entirely contrived from beginning to end.
So you're right, and I think we're all in the consensus. There's no tension. There's boredom, but no tension. So we get some stormtroopers, and finally it looks like we might get some action. Is Obi still hiding? I think that was the moment where he
Remember,
leapt out
Barry,
the way.
wasn't it? Where where he does, these are not the droids you're looking for. He did the Jedi mind trick on the stormtroopers.
He did the old pretend to throw the stone thing. Yes.
Yeah, convenient that he remembered how to do it.
Oh yes, this is very much a throwback to the scene from the original Star Wars movie when he distracted a couple of stormtroopers when he was deactivating the force field.
Yes, he does.
By using exactly the same method, which is weird considering he couldn't move a little device along a desk earlier.
Yes, they can't even keep consistency within their own goddamn episodes, never mind within the wider canon. So here we have an Imperial officer asleep on the job. That's very slack. And then it's back to Riva and Leia. I didn't realize how long this interrogation scene was. The fourth time we've now revisited it. Someone asked in the chat, I think it might have been Demon, why didn't Darth Wakanda mind probe her? I'd actually think she attempts to, doesn't she, at one point, but it doesn't. It's to no avail because Leia's so powerful.
No, I think he's referring to the different one. He's referring to the mind probe that they used before they decided that the Jedi could read minds. So obviously Riva is using the technique we see Kylo Ren use. But in A New Hope, Darth Vader uses the mind probe, as in the droid, the torture droid on Leia.
Droid, yes.
And I think that's what he's referring to.
CCTV camera with a syringe.
Yeah, that one.
That
which
black one.
Still looks better than anything in this show does.
It's got that fantastic noise as it approaches, hasn't it? The wom, wom, wom. Oh,
so is this where they decide torture?
Yes, she's had
torture
enough.
a small child.
Yes, we've handcuffed a small child. Now we're going to torture a small child.
Is that the Disney way?
Outwitted by a 10-year-old too many times. Time to torture it.
You know, one thing I'm not certain of, sir, is in an age of holographic projections, why Riva would have taken the time to rip off a piece of plank and bring it with her.
Yes.
Oh, you're just nitpicking now, Z.
No, it's not.
A souvenir or something, perhaps.
It's not a 2-minute job, is it? She's carefully had to kind of, extract that from the wooden wall or whatever it was, from the MDF wall that we saw in the last episode.
If I may, Demon Scythe Synthwave. Leia looks like she's in her Endor outfit.
Yes, now this is... this is an observation I made in terms of, you look at the outfits of young Leia throughout all of the episodes so far. There are little references to the outfits she'll then wear later on. So I think when we first met her, she had it was kind of like a burgundy outfit, which Leia wears on Cloud City.
Yeah.
We've seen her in the white, and obviously Leia's famous in all white, and then again we're seeing her in the Endor light green outfit. So they're trying to make these references, but it's not rocket science.
It's also merchandising that they're doing. Like, we're talking about these scenes with the probe droids and stuff. They know what they're doing as far as merchandising.
I remember probe droids.
Yep.
If I may, Demon Scythe, I want her to be riding a baby speeder bike around the Imperial base.
Well, it would have been more entertaining than what we got, so let's just say that. We could have had another slow chase with stormtroopers comically, slowly running after her, yes. So Obi-Wan still wandering corridors. We got some nice red logos here. And then
Torture chamber.
Yes, the old torture chamber.
If I may,
please.
Franco Walker, as long as they don't put her in a gold bikini.
Brown, you're doing so well, and you've got to get your channel shut down. What are you?
Cheers, Franco. It's your fault, mate. Thank you.
Is Franco Walker Brian Young's alternate account? What's going on?
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So we have almost like some kind of throne room from Last Jedi. I have no idea where this room's so big, and it's got a small torture chair in the middle of it. But then we have a child screaming as she's about to be tortured. Thank you, Disney. We all know what it's like to feel tortured as we sit through these goddamn episodes. And then Obi-Wan, I don't know if he's hearing the screams or he's picking up on it, but this is a scene which we can spend a bit of time on. And he chuckles away there, and I'm definitely going to come to him first, although I want to hear from you all on this. Dark Sith Lord, Lost Chord, people in pickle jaws. What do we have here?
This is when the show, I think from about this, what are we, like 2/3 in at this point, this is when the show just becomes just lol. It's why do they have pickled Jedi in a corridor? And there's a pickled youngling that still has its silly little hat on, and it's just why are you doing? Why would you do this? This just makes no sense. It's just there for reasons. And it's the first moment when I just sat there and just thought, you just have to laugh at this. It's just insane. It makes no sense. But here it is. We get to see pickled younglings. Yay! That's what I've always wanted from a Star Wars show.
Oh, yes, sir. Like I said in our private chat earlier, it does look like they go down there to reminisce every once in a while and, see what they've collected and go, oh, you remember the day when we offed that 9-year-old youngling? Oh, yes, what a day that was.
Savage.
Happy times.
If I may.
Please, Brown.
Bear with me then. That Nigel movie guy. Hello, Nigel.
Nigel.
The all-terrain armored transport, or AT-AT Walker, is a 4-legged transport and combat vehicle used by the Imperial Ground Forces. Then Nigel goes on to say, standing at over 20 meters tall with blast impervious armor plating, these massive constructs are used as much for psychological effect as they are for tactical advantage. Wow. I didn't. Moving on.
Dropping knowledge there. We do love
Knowledge
that
bombs,
Nigel
yes.
movie guy when he
Very
comes
good.
in and drops some knowledge. Matt again making reference to the video game that Lost Chord mentioned, Fallen Order.
Yeah.
We know there's a lot of references. And
no, this whole sequence is. I don't remember there being pickled younglings in Fallen Order, though.
It was mentioned in the chat as well. There's nice interaction going on in the chat. Certainly way more interesting than what went on in the Obi-Wan episode. Someone suggested why didn't they use carbonite? But of course, in the timeline, carbonite would not have been used at this point. It was Yes. Only kind of used by accident, wasn't it, in Empire, or an incidental moment in Empire? So instead they've gone for the amber pickle jars.
So, can
Ruin.
I ask, what happened to the Jedi they killed in the first episode? They hung him up to dry as an example to the rest of the townsfolk. Then did they ask one of the Stormtroopers to cut him down, bring him back, put him in the collection?
Well, it's the only thing that makes sense, isn't it? Strip him naked, put him in the amber pickle, and we can all go laugh at his tiny penis when we're bored. There we go.
Not Brian Young in the chat. KK has a pickle fetish. If it's not this, it's the bacta tanks.
Yes, I did the stats on this. We spend 67% of this episode with someone in some kind of liquid.
Here you go. Darth vinegar.
and
Well done, mate.
Melvin Deeply also gives us a Darth Branston as well. Very nice. We do like it.
Very good.
Okay. I can only hope Riva ends up in a pickle jar by the end of the series. I will forgive a lot if we see that, but I'm not holding out hope. So this actual sequence just goes on for an unbearing amount of time. It's I feel like he's wandering the corridor for about 15 minutes looking from pickle jar to pickle jar.
Are these Jedis?
Yes, but I was wondering, because the way it focuses on them, it sort of implies that we should recognize some of them at least. And I don't know if any of them are sort of featured in the animated shows. I mean, Z might know more of that. Do you recognize anyone?
I don't recognize any of them, sir. They appear to be a collection of complete randoms.
Nigel, you have indeed, sir, lifted the
Thank
IQ,
you, Nigel.
but don't worry, I'm going to bring it back down to the gutter shortly.
Thank you, Nigel.
So again, we carry on. Just look. I mean, I thought I was missing something. I thought I probably should know who these people are, but I don't. But turns out no one knows who they are. I don't know why they dwell on them. I think one brief scene would have been enough. I mean, for God's sake, Rise of Skywalker give us pickled Snoke, but they didn't dwell on it for that long. I mean, this just goes on for goddamn ever.
I was half expecting to see like a prototype Snoke clone in one of them. I was really disappointed when there wasn't. But none of them have any sort of visible injuries. They're all dressed exactly as they were presumably when they died, but there's no stab wounds or blaster wounds or anything. They're just perfectly preserved.
Yes, I was waiting for it to blink at this point, but yes, Tim, I'm coming back to you, sir. What do you make of the pickled Jedi or Force sensitive or Padawans or whatever you want to call them? Did it do anything for you, this scene?
I didn't recognize like anyone, so it didn't really have any weight. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, they went there, but then they did close-ups on these characters, and I was like, I don't know who these people are, so why do I care? Gandhi.
Cheers, Melvin.
Melvin's trying to get us banned again.
May I go back a slide?
Yes, go on. There's only 700 to get through, Brown. We can certainly
Did
go
you see
back,
the forceps and the syringe type things on the scissors were the same ones that were on the probe droid from 77?
Oh, check you out, Brown.
Yeah, I think the one on the right. Moving on.
The far right.
Indeed. No, the alt right.
The alt right. Okay. So yes, we have.
This reminds me, sir, of that episode of The Office where they put somebody's stapler in jelly.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good callback, Z. Someone else suggesting we've got Sigourney Weaver and an alien reference here. See, you don't appreciate the genius of it, man, babies.
It's great.
I think Brian recognizes one of them based on
Jesus,
chat.
this one, fucking hell.
Yeah, this was rather harrowing, wasn't it? Brian does recognize Terra effing Sinoob from the Clone Wars. I mean, good for you, Brian, and none of us recognized anyone.
Couldn't they take the wok off his head?
No, always keep the wok on.
Wok on.
Walk on, walk off.
They had a missed opportunity here because they mentioned the Jedi in episode 3, and his name was on the wall, and they could have shown him dead in like this whack this Etsy version of a wax museum or whatever. So
yeah, because they mentioned Quinlan Voss as well, don't they? And then that would have at least because they can't do that because I'm assuming they're going to want to bring him into some kind of live action show at some point. So they can't kill off anyone who can potentially deny them future content. We need all the content, so I'm sure we'll get to see Quinlan Voss at some point. But I agree, it would have been good to actually see him dead, just because no more harm can come to him.
Yep.
Anyone making wok puns in the chat will get their comments displayed without fail, and I'll also send you a signed copy of The Last Jedi with the director's commentary on. So there's the challenge, man babies in the chat. Okay, so we've got you're gonna have to keep an eye on that, Brown, because they're gonna, oh god, they're already coming in. The wok of love. Oh, God. What have we started? So
wok like an Egyptian, that's one. What Johnny Cash's famous Wok the Lion, that's also another one.
Did one of the Inquisitors go, I love his hat, I'm going to get one for myself?
Maybe that's where he got the inspiration.
Walking on heaven's door.
Down by the boardwalk.
Not bad. Not a bad time, prophets.
So you don't get this on Nerdrotic?
You don't get this kind of analysis, this deep critical thought. So we power on and away from the pickled Jedi, and it looks like the game is up, and Leia's in trouble. She's really giving it the full. Brock. Melvin's winning, people.
He's on fire as Melvin tonight.
That's brilliant, Melvin.
Well done, Melvin.
Yes, I'm going to send him 2 copies of The Last Jedi just for that. So can we just do for the next episode 5 of Obi-Wan Brown? I just think we do wok puns for the entire episode.
Yeah, homework for the chats for next week. Get as many wok gags written down as possible, and we'll take it from there.
Brilliant. Okay. So we've now got the plot has been rumbled, and Riva confronts Adina, and it looks like the game is up, or she's certainly highly suspicious at this point. I think she's still trying to plead innocence, but yeah, I mean, I go back to my original comment. Anything with Ewan in or with Adina in, it feels like we're watching some quality acting, but without those two, it seems very substandard.
If it's just like acting against a brick wall, how could you do that?
Well, we had Mark Hamill suckling a space alien teat on my movie, so anything's possible when you've got a good actor.
Leia almost looks happy that she's going to get syringed.
Yes, you've caught a hell of a still there. She's almost about to break out into a giggle. But yes, the least tense interrogation scene ever. And then it's Obi-Wan to the rescue. And we see a bit of lightsaber action. Z, what did you make of this bit of action after 25 minutes of boringness?
Oh, well, sir, I was quite wondering why the other stormtrooper didn't just go, there's a Jedi in the interrogation chamber, lock down all the doors.
Yes, especially the moment with the one where he's left on his own. He's like, there's no escape, there's no way out. And
yes, I won't like call this in.
20-second gap as well. It's not exactly as though he's dying instantly. He does have time to get dialogue off, because Obi-Wan kills the first one. The second one says something like, there's no escape, and then he gets yeeted. And it's just, no, just radio it in. Do your job. He's basically less competent than the least competent Metal Gear Solid villain. And that's saying something, because they're dumb as hell.
It must have been the wind.
Yeah, why can't he chop through them? Like, that's not Beskar armor. Like, it made no sense at all. It should have been this nice, clean, epic shots, but he had to bang on it like twice, like he's banging on a trash can to, like, penetrate it.
Yeah, good points. The wok puns are still flowing in. Good work, man, babies. You're on form tonight. But yeah, we see a little bit of action here from you. And again, he couldn't move a small object on a table, but now he's in full flow with the lightsaber kicking arse. Yes. And I mean, I suppose they limit him to taking out stormtroopers, so we'll give him that. But we are heading towards the real comical end to this show, which I can't wait to get there. So we're back to Riva, and really we know we're in trouble now because
she's trying to double bluff Riva or Vera, isn't she? Double bluff. Yeah.
Yes, she says, "I was a spy,
buy
but I
time.
was a spy for you." And then Riva immediately knows or thinks that she's lying, but doesn't do what she would normally do in this situation and chop limbs off. She's just like, "Well, maybe you are, but maybe you aren't, and we'll just torture you instead. That will do it."
So we now have we've had sort of 15-20 minutes of Obi-Wan tiptoeing around the corridors. Now we've got Obi-Wan and young Leia tiptoeing around the corridors, and again the probe droid. Is this the moment where it actually does clock them, or are they still
in a moment? Yeah,
incognito? Yes, about to happen. The walk buttons still show no sign of dying
amazing.
off. So the game is up. Clever Riva orders her arrest. Yes, plot armor indeed, Brian. And Obi-Wan needs to get the hell out of here with young Leia. Oh, this was a particularly comical moment. I'm so glad you caught it on this actual shot, Brown. Just when you think stormtrooper armor is so useless it doesn't protect you from absolutely anything, you can now include face palms to that list of what it doesn't protect you from. She actually takes out a stormtrooper with a palm strike to the helmet.
That is the strongest bitch slap I have ever seen in my life.
I mean, what do we think happening is the helmet rattling against his face, breaking his nose? I mean, I don't know. Can anyone give me any rational for what's going on?
I am the walrus, cuckoo, cuckoo.
So, like, technically, blunt force strikes are the best thing to use against hard armor because you can't penetrate them, but the force of impact resonates, obviously, and the impact is fully transferred from hard armor to face. But that's an excuse for war clubs and hammers, not for a slap. I don't think, like, if a medieval swordsman was face palmed, or sorry, slapped in the face with the palm, I don't think that would have had the desired effect. So, no, there isn't really an explanation for that.
And the other stormtrooper, sir, just standing there looking like, did you just slap him?
Yes. It does get comical, although not intentionally. So we have more stormtroopers having their asses kicked.
Get in.
Look at that.
You
give yourself
She's great.
Virtual slap on the back there, Brown.
Thank you.
Yes, well deserved. So is Obi-Wan now? I think this is the scene where he defends from stormtrooper shots with his saber. Did this do anything for anyone? Tim, did you get any thrill from Obi-Wan using the saber? Not as much as the Jello diaper sandwich you had earlier. No.
Yeah, I'd prefer that, especially on like vegan bread. Yeah.
No, it was incredibly irritating, if that helps. Like, it annoyed me greatly.
It's the droid.
So Obi-Wan here, Obi-Wan in the last scene we saw him using his lightsaber was holding it like he was like a drunk man holding a pool cue in a bar fight. Now we find out he can use it after all, and he uses it in this scene, which makes it more ridiculous he didn't use it in earlier scenes where it would have been just as useful. He's also really handy with it, so he can deflect blaster shots deliberately to hit specific wall panels, to shut doors, which is helpful. But the other really irritating thing is that he deflects another shot, a blaster shot, which hits the window, which cracks. So you've got an underwater base, and you've equipped your guards with weapons that if they just miss once, and they're fucking stormtroopers, so they miss all the time, one missed shot will blow up your entire underwater base.
I disagree with you because who would be stupid enough to attack? So that's why they don't need shields or anything.
Oh, get fucked. But also it's again though. This is also stolen from Fallen Order. There is a scene in Fallen Order in virtually the entire same corridor where a part of the wall gets damaged, and then they have to use the Force, and then eventually to stop the water coming in. And then eventually, a character redirects the Force against the bad guys, which is exactly what happens here. But because that game is supposed to be canon, and it's set years before this, you're supposed to accept that they've had a guy break in, do all of this stuff before, and they've not made any changes at all. So the exact same thing, in some cases shot for shot, is happening again. None of this scene makes sense at all. None of it does.
Could we just go back one slide? That's a very, very reassured Obi-Wan I'm back pose.
Yeah, it's a nice shot, in fairness, isn't it? It's nicely framed with the the corridor and Leia off to one side, the stormtrooper dead on the floor. Yes. Is this what they're trying to portray? Maybe he's got his mojo back. I don't know.
I thought that.
And as a big Def Leppard fan and someone who plays in a Def Leppard tribute band, nonetheless, I have to give a shout out to Time Prophets. Let's get walked by Walk Leopard. Brilliant, great work. It's such a shame we don't have the Inquisitor Walk himself on this episode, isn't it?
Maybe later.
Oh, I love the bit where he does come in later. It's really kind of entertaining, but I guess we'll get there. It's just random. Everything's gone to shit. He turns up and he doesn't know what's going on, but he's like, it's definitely Riva's fault. I don't know what's happening, but I'm sure it's your fault. Oh God. This is one thing though. We have to give it to him.
Are all these scenes for the people? Obviously, they're looking at their iPhones, and then all of a sudden they will be distracted by all these bright flashing lights.
Definitely, yes.
Is that what all these scenes are for? Tim, do you think that?
Yeah, the action was kind of hard to follow. Like, I mean, throughout the whole series thus far, it's been like very subpar. But I do kind of like this scene, even though it's been reused. But I did like it. I did like seeing Obi-Wan come back to being Obi-Wan instead of just Ben.
Yeah.
I think we're scraping the walk now, aren't we, on the walk puns? But that one did make me chuckle from Time Prophet. Oh, what have we started? So Obi-Wan is kicking ass, defending from the stormtroopers, but Riva's on the march. Here she comes, and he's now taking a fair bit of flack, isn't he? And this is leading to another scene which is worth pausing and analysing, because it's the scene where, as we're about to see, we get the crack and he has to use the Force to force hold the window. Don't know how else you'd describe it. Anyone want to come in and just give me your thoughts on this? There's the crack developing. We all like a bit of crack, don't we?
They should have gone to autoglass repair.
I was literally about to say go to autoglass.
Free repair for if you've got the right insurance policy.
I would really have a word with the contractors who built this place, because that glass is not very thick at all. And if I recall, Imperial Star Destroyers, even in the Clone Wars, could seal off sections to seal people in, but at no point do they attempt to do that here.
Yes, and as Time Prophet backs you up, Z, there are no emergency shields for the windows. You'd think it would be somewhat important to have that. But nevertheless, the crack is there. It develops. Leia notes it, draws Obi-Wan's attention to it. And while he's trying to fight off the stormtroopers, I think at this point is it a feature of all Star Wars doors that you just have to blast the panel and it'll automatically close them? Is that established law? Yes, good, okay. But,
there you go.
Yeah, he manages to.
Do you want to read that?
Craig says, auto walk repair, auto walk replace.
Well done.
Very good. So he's bought himself a bit of time, but the crack is developing.
And I'll put the next lot of slides up there with me.
Yes.
Here we go.
Oh, it's getting worse all the time. Did anyone feel any tension, excitement?
Sexual?
Well,
Stream killer.
Like, get back to the walk jokes, Brown. Okay, so they're waiting for him, and he's in a bit of a quandary because he's trying to hold off the window, but and the stormtroopers are trying to break through the door, but then he's going to have to make a dash for it himself. Here we go. They're making a bit of a gap. Quick question for Brian in the chat. Brian, are you still heterosexual? No. Okay. No. Just checking.
Here you go. This is for you, Ruin. Do you want to read it?
So Time Prophet says, by the way, my wife has met Joe Elliott from Def Leppard. He actually wore a necklace on stage that my wife gave him. She worked for a rock magazine at the time. Wow, what a claim to fame. Did he wear anything else or just the necklace and nothing else? That's what I really want to know, Time Prophet. But,
Is she still your wife?
On that subject, sir, I can also say that I know the gentleman personally who did the video for that song.
Oh, really? Wow. I'm so impressed.
A very good friend of mine.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. We need to talk more, Z. If it wasn't for Def Leppard chat and Wox, what the hell would we talk about on this stream? Because there's nothing else of interest. So anyway, let's paint our way through it. So he's holding, force holding the window, but it's going to give at any moment.
I did like the CGI on this. It was really good.
Yes, I mean they've always had that skill, haven't they? The skill set. The is it still what are they called? Lights. What's the
ILM?
studio called? ILM. That's it. Yeah. You know, there's no doubt that talent exists within the company.
yes.
It's just not always utilized the right way. So they break through. They make a gap in the door. They still manage to miss, for God's sake. But then finally, just as they break through, Obi with a grimace and oh, nice shot. Who's this black stormtrooper? Anyone? What's
Easy.
No, just a random black stormtrooper. Okay.
Is that scene? Sorry, Tim.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, is that in terms of representation and diversity? How does everybody feel about that scene? 1, 2, 4 visible white stormtroopers to 1 black stormtrooper. How did the panel feel about that? Does that reflect today's world accurately?
Well, Ivan sums it up perfectly. What do you mean, you people? Yes, well, they're probably all women underneath the suit's brown, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
Oh, okay. That makes everything okay then. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Imperial Death Troopers. Imperial Death Troopers is what they're called.
It's a Death Trooper, is it? Wow, okay.
Bijot Moore, thank you, Bijot.
Death Trooper, yeah.
I was always uncertain about that, because aren't the Death Troopers also introduced in Mando Season 2, but they're basically just robots in that season, aren't they?
Yes.
Matt's suggesting there could be Shadow Troopers. I don't know. Yeah. Craig thinks it's a Token Trooper.
I thought that also, yeah.
Yeah. So Obi makes it through the door, and they manage to close it without any water escaping through. Quite remarkable.
Well, he was using the Force to hold it back, though, wasn't he? To direct it back down the tunnel. Yeah, so it's like all of a sudden he's found his Jedi power skills again.
There we go. And this was, I've got to say, of all the, it's often hard to find, new original ways of killing people, but if there's one thing which will stick with me from this episode, the scene of the floating dead stormtroopers in the corridor. I thought that was, borderline inventive for Disney. Anyone? Any thoughts?
Agreed. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it's because this whole series, but I think it's inventive. But I kind of giggled when I first saw it. It was kind of goofy in a way, just him kind of floating in the background. Hey guys, yeah.
Did the black one make it out alive though?
It is
Well,
really weird though, like that their standards on what constitutes graphic scenes just fluctuates between episodes. So
Floaters.
like you have him in episode 1, there is a Jedi hanging, but they don't feel like they can show him actually hanging, so he's just strung up. Then we get a stormtrooper cut in half, and now we have stormtroopers drowning. But in other scenes, again, they won't show the logical graphic consequences of any particular action. It's like stormtroopers are fine. You can do whatever you want to them, but anyone who looks more human than a stormtrooper, you can't do anything nasty to. I just kind of wish Disney would get themselves, like, just decide on the standard and stick to it, but don't be really graphic in one episode and then not at all. You've just shown us a pickled kid, for God's sake. I think we can handle the rest.
Some people in the chat, including our own Brian, suggesting why can't they breathe under the water? They can breathe in space and they can breathe in the Sarlacc.
Yes,
so
absolutely. Yeah, because in the opening shot from the Book of Boba Fett, Boba has to use the stormtrooper's breathing apparatus to plug it into his own helmet to get oxygen back. So we know they can breathe underwater. So I mean, would it be pressure? Maybe water pressure, but they're not that deep because Obi-Wan has already swum down here, so it can't be that. So yeah, another problem.
You don't get that on Nerdrotic.
No, and I'll just say, Brown, just going back to your earlier point, it's a known fact, white stormtroopers can't jump, but black stormtroopers can't swim. That is an established fact. There you go. You don't get that on Nerdrotic either.
You don't?
Anyway, now we get to the real comedy of the show.
Whose coat is that? Where did they get that? No, this appears to be the coat of Andre the Giant.
That's canon now.
Oh, good.
I can just imagine there's an Imperial officer the size of a fucking house.
Right, MC.
Yes, at first, when I saw this scene, I laughed because I thought, yes, put a hat on him and put a tent of a coat on him, but he still looks like a hobo walking through the. Every other Imperial officer's neat and trim and fitted out uniforms and the rest of it. There's no way he's going to convince anyone he's an Imperial officer. Then I remembered. Fucking layers underneath that coat as well.
Yeah, you want a stormtrooper or an officer to come up and say, "Is that a small child in your pocket, or are you just pleased to see me?"
Can I,
how did they get this far?
Read a comment from a Twitter thread which says, "Good evening, fellow Imperials. I'm just walking along in my trench coat with a giant oversized right leg. Don't mind me."
I mean, it reminded me, for my sins, that the character in Solo, if anyone can even recall that goddamn movie where...
did Solo lose money, by the way?
Yes.
Oh, it's nothing to do with me, though. It was Russian bots. But there's a character in Solo who passed himself off as he's a small alien-type creature, and he passed himself off as a normal-sized human being by wearing a large coat. So, still during this gag. I mean, I guess the writers must have sat there and thought, how the hell do we get Obi-Wan and Leia through, past hundreds of stormtroopers and Imperial officers? And the best they come up with was we'll put a massive coat over them. So
this scene just screams, fuck it. Like the writers couldn't think of what to do and just threw their hands back and just said, fuck it, let's do this.
It reminds me of Austin Powers, where he has like Mini-Me strapped on his back and he's walking around with that coat. And then Mini-Me drop.
Oh God, there's no defending this shit, is there? So, anyway, they waltz past hundreds of stormtroopers and guards. Oh, and this is the moment we've been waiting for.
Yes.
Get your woks at the ready. It's Captain Wok entering the scene. He looks rather pissed off as well. Maybe
it's Riva. This must be her fault.
Can I ask what the actual functionality of that hat is? Or is his head shaped like that? I'm not entirely sure.
Well, they're on a water base, so when he has to go outside, it protects him nicely from any drizzle and rain.
It's also if he's doing atmospheric re-entry as a heat shield. It can work like that as well. I've actually got him in the video I'm doing for the review for this, which is he turns up and you cut the Snoke saying, "Take that ridiculous thing off."
I now want to see him without his wok, or perhaps with the wok and nothing else on. Maybe that's the way to go.
Comment of the night. Maybe it's Bert Kwok. Well done,
and I do like Ivan's been on form tonight. May the wok be with you. There we go. what gun as well. Oh god, they just keep rolling in. It's brilliant. Okay, so we've somehow, like I say, they managed to walk past without the remotest glance. I mean, when Adina was on her own, Tala, wherever the character's name is, she was stopped and questioned multiple times by Imperial officers, but now she's with Obi-Wan in a giant coat with Princess Leia inside it. Not a glance, not a problem. Although we do see a mouse droid in the background, and we will see a mouse droid, I think, again shortly. So
I remember mouse droids.
remember Berry for you. Z3, have you owned any mouse droids in your time? I'd imagine you could fashion them into a pair of roller skates, couldn't you?
Oh, well, they are small enough, sir, that I can insert them.
So it looks like, well, we don't actually know what the plan is. What is the plan for getting out of here? Does anyone know?
Well, they don't appear to be heading towards any ships.
Swim.
No, I know.
Yeah, do they have like a beacon to know when the ship's actually going to show up? Because it shows up at the perfect moment, right?
But I don't even know that. I don't even think they expected those ships to show up. That's the point. I don't think at this stage there's no plan.
Yeah,
They're just going to
yeah.
walk to the
well, sir,
main deck.
I've got to say that when we actually built this base, they did specify no shields, no security cameras, no emergency force fields to protect them from their own environment, no security doors to isolate intruders, and absolutely no radar to detect oncoming threats.
There we go. Brilliantly done.
You don't get that on Nerdrotic.
So now we get the confrontation with Riva turning up, and it looks like our heroes are doomed. They're exposed. They're surrounded. Riva's getting angry again. It's not like her to get angry, is it?
No.
And I think she actually orders for them to be killed here. So you think, oh god, this is it. This is the moment. Obi-Wan's going to die. What's going to happen? Of course, we then realise.
You would think at least one of the 30 people surrounding them would shoot.
Yes, they're surrounded on all sides, of course. When they shoot, they're going to shoot each other. So slight flaw in that plan. Brian Kaufman in the chat. Sorry, I'm late. The Last Jedi comes on TNT in 30 minutes, so he's been preparing. Everyone tune into TNT in 30 minutes time to watch my cinematic masterpiece. Thank you, Brian. So Riva getting angrier still. Stormtroopers getting ready to miss. Black Stormtrooper there.
Representation.
And then something coming in the distance. Lost Chord. Tee us up with this scene.
Oh, God. Oh, God. No. Like, I didn't think it was possible to hate fucking snow speeders, but now you can.
Oh, they're great. I know.
This is, it's hard even to know where to begin with this. They look like shit. They're not properly scaled, and they fly directly into a wall, but then teleport out of the way so they don't die. Everything about this entire scene is ridiculous.
Yes, it is a sense of the bloody cavalry arriving. I will say though, when I saw it was snow speeders, I did get excited because it is my favorite ship in all of Star Wars, the snow speeder. I've got a huge soft spot for it. But what happened shortly made me rather angry.
I have a question.
Question away, Brown.
Forgive me if I'm incorrect, but I thought snow speeders, their drive system was based on repulsor
lift.
Yeah. So chew on that one.
I think because I did wonder about that. I think
they're at altitude. How does that work? They only get speed because of pushing against something directly underneath them. That's what I thought.
Correct, sir. And they shouldn't be able to do that against water.
I'm a Star Trek fan as well, and even I knew that.
Yes,
Shall we
it's
just
a
end
major
it there,
flaw.
folks?
Yeah, well, they really should have ended Obi-Wan there, to be honest. They got so farcical, but yeah, so obsessed with the member berries, they didn't think to apply logic or even refer back to the previous movies.
Yes,
Melvin makes
Melvin. That's absolutely right. They also said no defensive weaponry of any kind whatsoever. We're going to be wholly reliant on our own guile, deceit, and an army full of TIE fighters.
well, as long as there are a few boxes to force throw at them, then they're going to be fine, I suppose. That's all they need.
Yeah,
But
Andy Mouse. Yeah, ground effect. It's not me, is it, folks?
No.
no,
Right, thank you. Even through my addled coof brain, it wasn't me, was it?
No, you've improved with the COVID, Brown. I think you should keep it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so obviously the snow speeders, which are no longer snow speeders, are shooting shit up here, and then Obi-Wan and Leia and Tala, whatever her name is, they see an opportunity to escape, so they start taking out more stormtroopers.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, sir, aren't these speeders have only 2 seats?
Oh, this is the point, Z.
I
This
haven't
is the
even got to
bit
that.
which made me rage because I know intimately the layout of the snow speeder. I've built 2 of them Lego sets, but not only that, I've looked at the what do you call them, the schematic guides and so on. And you are indeed right. Anyone who's ever watched a fucking Star Wars movie knows in Empire Strikes Back,
Easy.
when Luke crashes, there are 2 seats and 2 seats only: the pilot seat and the gunner's seat in the rear. Behind the main cockpit, and they are very small seats at that, particularly the rear one. Somehow, in this fucking mess of an episode,
3 people.
they get 3 people into it to squeeze into one seat. It's utterly
Plus the pilot,
ridiculous.
sir. That's 1 in the front and 3 in the back.
Bit like one of your sex scenes, Z.
Oh, yes.
But, we won't dwell on that. Mouse Droid takes a hit here, which was again quite sadistic. We like Mouse Droid.
Beep, 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 beep.
And yes, they're making a dash for it here, aren't they? And Riva's going to try and catch them before they go.
It's just utter tosh.
Yes, and then we get one of the snow speeders landing. Riva looking angry. Don't see that often.
Beep, 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 beep.
And then Snowspeeder pilot, just get in the tiny seat at the back. You don't fit in no brief. You can fit under a
Diversity
coat.
box ticked, by the way,
Yes.
boys and girls.
Well, the logic is if you can fit 2 people under a coat, you can fit 3 people on a seat. So I suppose that's how the logic goes.
Are they on each other's lap?
Possibly.
You
That's
get
the
hood
only
down.
way I can think they can do that.
This bit coming up, utter bollocks.
I've got to flat. Yeah, you're right, Bran. I mean, we're going to get onto it. We're all going to give our thoughts on this. But and good to see him in the chat. Does say you get different models of military vehicles and how maybe we can give him a pass on that. I understand it may be fitted out differently, but
if anything, these ones are smaller than the ones you
Yeah.
see in Empire Strikes Back. Also, no military model of a snowspeeder ever existed can be able to teleport from crashing into a wall to being outside of the fortress within the space of a single scene. So there's only so far you can go with that kind of charity.
And I am disappointed, and you're right, Lost Chord. So no, and screw you. But I am disappointed that we didn't have a drinking game for every time a Whammon saves someone in Obi-Wan, and again we have the Whammon pilot.
Yeah, the speeder wouldn't have been able to turn at 90 degrees in that shorter space, so it was just impossible. It would have hit the doors.
I don't know what Time Prophet's referring to, but I dare not read it out for fear of being arrested. So yes, this is the scene where Obi-Wan has escaped, and Leia and was all squeezed in and got away. But Riva, in a moment of Kylo Ren-like emo anger, takes a parting shot at one of the.
But this just
leaders.
looks so stupid. Yeah, it can't do this.
Utter bollocks.
It drops to a halt in midair. Like they got vertical takeoff, we know that, but it just looks dumb. This is not how ship mechanics works in Star Wars. You don't have ships like this, which just certainly not the snowspeeder, which just comes to a dead halt midair, randomly shoots at people. The problem as well with this scene is it allows us to linger on the terrible CGI work that's gone into its construction because it looks like utter shit. And then I was kind of expecting her to do one of her free running things here and reflect the blasters and jump on it and then stab the pilot, but no, it gets worse than that. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, this was a highly contrived and frankly comical scene at best. Tim, what did you make of this? We're getting towards the climax of this episode, and what do you make of Riva taking out a ship with a, what the hell you call it, a forced throw of an object?
Force chuck.
Yeah.
No, it seemed very forced in, pun intended. It did, like,
Nice.
they could have executed it a lot better. There was no weight to the character. I think his name was Wade dying at all. We just met him, so the gravity of the scene, I felt nothing. I think it would have been better if she would actually threw the little tracker onto his vehicle and he would have lived. That's how I would have done it. But no, it just shot poorly, and you guys bring up good points. Even I'm not an expert in how these spacecrafts work, but I was like, wow, those are some really tight shots, and I don't remember ever seeing like an aircraft able to hover like a helicopter where they can chill in one spot, but like a jet can't. So, like, yeah.
Yes, Crual Birab in the chat. Good to see you, Crual. So she didn't use the force to stop it. No, she chucked a box at it. There we go. So nice shot, though. This one's a nice shot. We always try and give some credit where it's due, and it very often isn't. But nice kind of front-on shot. I do like the the detail on the ship there. Brown, I always like to get your opinion on these nice shots.
I just don't think this spaceship looked accurate enough for my liking.
Yes, it's no
very video gamey. Very video gamey. Its entire sequences.
And snowspeeders are great.
Yes, I'm not accepting
Andy
that.
Masson in the chat, was the female pilot Rose Tico's mom?
You won't believe it, I actually had that in my notes, Andy. Great minds think alike. Help me work on my trilogy. You know what? We say that, and we made a joke earlier about Ice-T or whatever, his son being in it. I would not be surprised if that is canon. That's Rose Tico's
I will
mother.
say, and Andy, you must come on one of these before we finish.
Yes, do it.
Swap Shop it asks the question that I also wanted to ask when I did the script, which is that every shot we've had of this hangar shows TIE fighters everywhere.
I remember TIE
fighters. The ship flies off, and they just act like it's that's that. Then it's all done, fine. Can't do anything about that. Not like we have any ships we can send after them.
But there's a homing beacon on, so why would they?
Well, there is, yes, but again, there was a homing beacon aboard the Millennium Falcon, and they still sent TIE fighters after it to keep up the pretense. Also, I mean, I guess we're coming to that scene now anyway, so it's probably right that we start criticizing that setup, which is that this entire thing is effectively a riff off of A New Hope. So she's placed the homing beacon in the little droid, and she's let them get away. This is all part of the plan. But when it comes to that device in A New Hope, everyone is vaguely aware that this is part of the plan. Everything about this is structured, which is why it doesn't come as a surprise to anyone on the Imperial side that they've been able to escape, because this was all part of the plan. In this scene, Riva is the only one, or so it seems, who is aware that this is her plan. In other words, all of the stormtroopers think this is a genuine escape attempt. All the TIE fighter pilots would think the same. Inquisitor Wok thinks the same. Darth Vader thinks the same when he turns up. She's the only person who knows that she's letting them escape, despite the entirety of the base thinking this is a genuine escape attempt and making a genuine attempt at stopping it. So the setup doesn't make any sense. And the fact that they are stealing it from A New Hope can mean one of two things. Either this is another scene they've just lifted from the originals and therefore are not writing their own show. Alternatively, the idea is that this is where Darth Vader gets his idea from when he does it in A New Hope, in which case she's taking credit preemptively for what is his plan later on. Neither of those two readings portray this scene in a good light at all, but it's just a fucking abysmal.
Can I just show this? Franco, you are on the fucking money, mate. Where is it? It moved.
I know, with the chats. Yeah, that.
Come in, sit down, take the walk
Oh, good God.
Oh,
So
Franco,
funny.
bless you.
Oh, man, now why am I craving Chinese food now? I am starting to get hungry. That's like sounds good.
We've done nothing but talk about walks for the last 2 hours. Another fantastic image of Captain Walker, whatever he's called. So she's took out one of the ships. I can't remember what Captain Walk says to her, but obviously he's expresses that there's been a failure. Nice pose he walks off with there. He's rocking the power pose.
It's been working.
And then here we go, man, babies, the moment you've all been waiting for. Vader's coming, and we're all thinking, for fuck's sake, Vader, put this Riva out of her misery. Kill her off. We'll love you forever. She's clearly failed. She had Obi-Wan and Leia on the base. She had Leia in Interrogation. They couldn't be a bigger failure if you tried. They both managed to escape from the base. Surely Vader's going to finish her off. And it looks good initially. I mean, Z, did you think this was the end for Riva?
Well, if I were Darth Vader, so I would have just walked in there and snapped her neck.
So, look, we have to say the direction maybe is poor as well as the acting, but she never seemed that uncomfortable when she was being lifted off the floor and force choked. But this scene with Vader, and really, I thought it was awful. I thought it was.
You were
the
quite
ridicule.
upset about this, weren't you, earlier?
I was very upset.
Yeah.
It was the ridicule of Vader for me. I mean, there's been other scenes in this series where I thought that's not Vader. It's not how he would act. But this one was frankly ridiculous. And I want to go. I want to hear from you, Brown. But I'm going to go around the room on this one because it's quite remarkable.
What is
Brownie?
What's remarkable? It's just so predictable that she's outsmarting everybody, even Vader. It's just boring. It's stunning and brave. It's bollocks.
I mean, I could not believe how forgiving Vader was. I mean, Lost Chord, I know you must have some views on this one. What did you make of the remarkable forgiveness of Vader after a total and utter failure?
Well, again, it's stupidity is an excuse to make the plot happen, and it is again a copy of the scene in A New Hope, but without any of the thought that goes into that setup. And he can't kill her. The setup means that he can't kill her. So he turns up and he says, "You failed me for the last time," essentially, and then she says, "No, it was all a plan." And he has to say, "Oh, okay, I believe you." Because the entire setup for that scene is wrong. That there is no way you can write yourself out of a scene like that whilst keeping Vader's intelligence intact. You just can't do it. So it was doomed from the off. But that is basically the epitaph from this entire series.
Can you imagine how this will be good if they had some decent writers writing this? Because look at that scene there; it's all there. Visually, there's been nothing disappointing other than maybe a couple of. The kind of truck that hovered over the land last week that looked a bit dodgy. But obviously it's TV production. But some of this stuff, it's all there. And why do they just keep fucking it up all the time?
I think it is genuinely because, I mean, Vader should not be here. This episode would have worked much, much better if they had kept the Grand Inquisitor alive and made him effectively the foil for Riva all the way through, and you only introduce Vader in person properly at the very end of the show. Because otherwise, what you're doing, this scene would have made sense. It would have been logical for the Grand Inquisitor because he doesn't have this entire character backstory and all of the weight of expectation attached to him. So you can do whatever you want with his character. He's basically new to this show. I know he's in the animated shows, but you can do much more with him. And it would be much more interesting for him to have this sort of back and forth relationship with a character like Riva. But it fails just because they want to insert Darth Vader into this show improperly way before he should be there. You cannot do this scene with Darth Vader. It just does not work.
So he's not even really needed, is he?
Well, they need him because that's their reason for being. I mean, it's the entire reason this series exists is because they want to have Vader on screen as much as is possible. Omitting, one of the few things one of the several things actually that worked quite well about Rogue One was that they didn't introduce him until basically right at the end. You have one shot of him in the middle, and then he doesn't come into his being until right at the end of the film. Vader is not somebody about whom it pays to know too much. You don't want to be overexposed to Vader. And you certainly don't want him involved in interactions like this, where he has to be stupid in order for the plot to carry on. And that's what they've chosen to do, because without Vader, they don't think they have a show, which tells you something about the quality of their own writing or how they esteem.
Well, the thing is, they do have a show, but they're just, as you said, they're just fucking dumb, aren't they?
Yeah.
Now, why didn't they not send a squadron of TIE fighters after those speeders?
Oh.
They have them. We know they're there. And we also know that speeders don't have warp capability. But,
see, that doesn't work because that is the wrong ship. Because it wouldn't get any propulsion over the water. The snow speeder.
So it's sort of unclear because they can attain some altitude, and you see them flying reasonably high up on Hoth. But I think I agree. I don't think they could go that high with repulsor lift. Repulsor lift is also the technology that powers the LA-AT clone transports in Attack of the Clones, and they can gain some altitude as well. But again, they don't tend to fly above like cloud level, so they are taking liberties with ship design here.
So then we go back to Rose Tico's mother, the Tico sister's mother. So I'm sure this is going to be built into it. Demon Scythe Synthwave says, "Oh, for walk's sake, this is dire," and he's not wrong. And then we're back to Ice-T's son. No, really, it is Ice-T's. Is it Ice-T or is it Ice Cube? I can't remember which is which, but
it's Ice Cube. But I love that it's now Ice-T.
It's Ice-T. Okay. Is Ice-T a person or is it a delicacy? I don't know.
Lipton's.
We shall refer to him as Long Island Ice-T.
See, this was a touching scene, no pun intended.
Yes, it was, and
no pun intended there.
Yeah, this for me, I called it in my notes the baby Yoda moment where he touches Mando on the face. We have I guess we're supposed to feel some kind of emotional reaction to this, or that it's some touching moments, but
there you go.
So pissed off about everything.
The newly knighted Franco Walker. It's like the hoverboards in Back to the Future. They don't work on water or at altitude. It's
true. And Demon Scythe isn't giving up on the wok puns. He says straight out of Wokton. Oh, God. And there we go. The moments, the touch of the hand, and Back to the Future.
You get arrested for that nowadays.
Oh God, don't. But there it is. The plot device, the tracking.
It's evil dead mouse.
Darth Dead Mouse.
Yes. And that sets us up, I guess, for the last 2 episodes. I mean, is just planting a tracking device enough to warrant forgiveness from someone like Darth Vader? Tim, what do you make of Darth Vader's incredible leniency?
Again, like this whole episode, I didn't feel really any tension because I didn't think he was going to kill Reva. She's kind of paying out more so like shining character over Obi-Wan. So yeah, there was no weight for me again.
No, nothing. Felt nothing. Bit like Luke in The Last Jedi. Batteries, wok included, were still going strong. And there we go. that brings us to the end. And what an episode it was. I mean, extraordinary in some respects, but not for the positive things. We're nicely approaching the 2 hours. So as we look to wrap this, and I've got to say, Brownie, you've done many of these. The chat has been on fire tonight. Is it one of the best chat rooms we've had? It's got to be.
I will say I produced this show this afternoon through my COVID brain, and it was a struggle. But you guys, we've had the numbers in tonight. It's probably been the best stream in the 18 months I've been doing this. So, guys,
fantastic.
you are the dog's bollocks. I thank you. You make it worthwhile. Thank you.
Yes, most entertaining in the chat room. Well, look, let's do a round robin and get closing thoughts and give me your IMDb rating for this episode. So Z, let's go to you, sir. What's your rating? What are your thoughts? And where the hell are we going with this shit fest?
Well, sir, this base should have been absolutely impossible to break in and out of, but they made it look like a walk in the park. This on writing and even performance, I would give this a 3 out of 10.
A 3 out of 10. Oh God, okay, generous almost, some would say. Tim, let's go to you. What's closing thoughts on this episode, and what's your rating for it, please?
I mean, the show has so much potential, kind of what Brown was saying. I actually do like this more than the last episode. I had some major issues with the whole Vader stuff and that. Obviously, this series doesn't need to be made, but here I am punishing myself trying to watch this. But yeah, I give it at least 7 out of 10. I was like 7.5. I've only watched it once, but you guys bring up some good points, but I need to watch it again. So yeah.
Oh, generous from Tim, I would say, but okay, fair. Just shows the range of opinions we have on our show. But don't let him back on again, Brown, please, if you would.
Don't worry, he's not coming on again. Don't worry.
Dog Sith Lord Lost Chord, I've got a feeling you're not going to be as forgiving as Tim.
No, there's no mercy on the dark side. I think sort of unironically and ironically at the same time, my favorite episode, just because it's not bad in the same ways as previous episodes. If there are stages of grief with Star Wars, and we've gone through anger, denial, regret, all the rest of those, this show doesn't really fall into any of those. This episode has its own sort of stage of grief, which is basically just the lol stage of grief, and like it's terrible. But it's just hilariously bad. Unlike the last episode where they just completely fucked up Darth Vader for in the past and in the future, and the reunion with Obi-Wan. This one, it's not even really offensive in that way. It's just comically bad. And so I'll give it a 1.5 out of 10 as an episode in its own right. But also I enjoyed it more than the others because it was just hilarious.
Yes. Yeah, they're looking in the chats and Brownie's throwing them all up. There seems to be a range of anything from 0.0007 from Time Prophet through to, we've had some 5s in there. So Tim, you're definitely flying the Disney flag with your rather high 7.5.
Shill.
Yeah,
I'll give you mine, and then it's only right we finish on the main man, the Mr. B. So yes, look, very much in line with what most others said, and Lord Chord there. It was I enjoyed it only because how much I knew we could rip on it. Enjoyed it in terms of, was it a great piece of TV? Was it a great Star Wars show? No, it was fucking awful. There's some very basic logic flaws. There was far too much Riva and baby Leia interrogation stuff. Member berries, as always, are there, but no substance to it. And then the ending, I remember swearing so much the dog ran out the room for cover. I got so angry with the Darth Vader shit. So I would give it for comedy value alone, I would just give it a 2. But Brown, over to you, sir. Take us to the bridge, if you would.
I would just say Bishop Moore, Obi-Wan show is bollocks. Half a point. out of 10.
Half a point. Wow.
Mr. Brown episode, 10 out of 10. Guests and chat are brilliant. They are. It's just disappointing, isn't it? When I saw that it was like 33 minutes long, I thought, okay, right, that's not too bad. But it just seemed like it took forever to do the slides for a half-hour episode, and it's not good, is it? It's all there. The production looks great. It's all there. Visually, it's fantastic. But it's only as good as the people writing it, isn't it? And my favourite part of it was the wok guy, but he's done fuck all. But anyway, that's just me.
We've gone from high comedy to almost suicidal in the chat there. Poor Brian he's got his head in his hands. He's so upset by it all. But some others like Franco are just being frankly ridiculous with the wok
congratulations,
jokes,
Franco, by the way.
Well, look, there we are. We've made it through yet another episode of Obi-Wan. There's only 2 to go, I believe.
Yep.
So we're going to wrap this goddamn thing in the next 2 weeks. Brownie, are we going to persevere with this torture?
I think genuinely we know it's bad, but I think we enjoy these. So
We do.
yeah,
we do.
Yeah.
Excellent work.
So
Well,
we'll see you next week, folks.
I'm sure I won't wrap this thing as well as you. So let me hand over to you to do the final wrap.
No, you're the man. You're the man.
You want me to do
yes.
it? Okay.
Oh,
Finish on a
yes.
song in that case, or how do
Kumbaya.
I feel a little bit of let's get
we
walked.
shall overcome might be a better one.
We shall walk you.
Yeah, I like that one.
We'll never walk alone.
Oh God, no! As an Everton fan, I couldn't. Okay, well, look, I'm just going to say I've really enjoyed it tonight. Actually, much more than watching the goddamn episode. So, thank you all. Thank you to my fellow guests. You've been fantastic. To Z3PO.
Pleasure once more, sir. Very, very enjoyable to talk with you all once again. Although if I get another episode like that, I may have to delete my memory myself.
Your mic out.
And I want to see your Irish alter ego reappear for the next one. You give us some great insights into the construction of an Imperial base. Thank you, as always, the insightful Dark Sith Lord George.
Yes.
Thank you for the excellent hosting, as ever.
Oh, fantastic. So we've enjoyed your company. And thank you to Tim, my first time interacting with Tim. We'll let it pass that you give this a 7.5, Tim. But thank you, sir. You've been awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. And Disney, you know my address. You can check.
Tim wants a job at the Star Cruiser Hotel. And last but not least, the main man, the man who does all the goddamn work behind the scenes and preparing these. And you know what, Brownie, you've deserved the progress you're making. You've hit the 400 subs tonight, and you've got some good
Tim,
numbers in the chat. Yes, so thank you, Brownie.
I would say, chat, fantastic tonight. Absolutely on the money tonight, guys. So top draw. And cheers, Ruin. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, sir. I've enjoyed myself. Okay, we will do it all again for Obi-Wan Kenobi series, episode 5. Hopefully, of only season 1. I can't imagine they're going to do a second season.
No,
you never know.
It's in the works.
Oh, good God! God help us. Okay. Until next time, then. We will see you all later. Good night, man, babies.
Bye bye.
Bye.
See you later.